The trade deadline has passed, and the Blazers did not do much of anything at all. Sad day for Blazers. That
We get to
lighting was
rewind.
weird. I thought it was gonna look a little better. But some other teams made some moves, but it was kind of a weak trade deadline overall. I think the splashiest moves probably came from the Dallas Mavericks. I think they got quite a bit better, adding PJ Washington and Gafford. Is that right? Yeah. And I think that really helped their depth quite a bit. Colton, who did the Blazers add? Can you tell me what players they added to their roster?
The Blazers traded a top 55 protected second round pick for Delano Banton. He's a point guard, but he is not a 6 foot point guard. He is 6'8". He's forward size. He could be classified as a forward with guard skills as far as like ball handling goes. Not shooting, of course, because then he would not be going for a top 55 protected pick. So Delano Banton. And you kind of already touched on it. I'll just dive right in. The trade deadline was not really a bang, but a whimper this season. I think the biggest moves that were made months ago or a month ago. The Toronto Raptors trading away Pascal Siakam, OG. Those were the big pieces, the much rumored about pieces, and they went a long time ago. So there was nothing picking up steam. And I think that Joe Cronin, while we all want this roster to be finalized right this second for the future, he probably did the right thing because it didn't seem like the market was there for, being a seller of one of the veterans.
He didn't live up to his nickname of Trader Joe.
Trader Joe. But look what happened in the summer. Everybody wanted Joe to finalize the roster. We did, so we could talk about it. Joe waited patiently, traded for Dame, and got better than what Miami Heat were offering at the time. So,
Although, is that true? I'm starting to wonder. Maybe they should have taken Tyler Hero over DeAndre Ayton.
no, 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 do not put that evil of adding yet another guard.
What
I'm
about? I was
saying,
wondering about not that we have to get into this, but if Maxi was legitimately on the table, that would start to look like um a better option there.
yeah, I
But
don't think.
we don't have to get into that right now.
Anyways, I'm gonna pass it off to Riley, but I just want to say I don't think there wasn't much more Joe could have done. You don't want to trade away your players for less value, and you saw a couple of minor moves being made out there. Around veteran guards like Patrick Beverly, and I don't think it was made much sense to make any of these trades unless there was something he turned down that we won't know of.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing that happened on the trade deadline came out of Dallas. And I don't know yet whether it was positive or negative. I don't know if we'll know that for a little while. I think that in the short term, they definitely made improvements. They had to get rid of Grant Williams. Apparently, he was just kind of a nightmare for the team. He wouldn't even wear Luca's shoes, you guys. He wouldn't wear the Lucas. But, then so I
Yeah, he
think
was
that they
wearing
were.
Tatum's instead.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that they were able to make some upgrades there. PJ Washington is probably better than a guy who doesn't want to be there, for sure. But I do worry a little bit about what they had to give up in order to make that move happen. I mean, they gave up another pick, another first round pick, when they're already pretty short on picks. So, when you look at what that team's going to do over the next 3 or 4 years, that was their 2027 pick that they already don't really have first round picks for the next couple of years. I mean,
They're definitely in win now mode right now, to be fair,
but they're not winning now is the problem. And I don't know if PJ Washington's going to put them over the top. So I don't know. In some ways, I see them as having similar problems to what the Blazers have had for the last 5 years, going into this year, where they've got a team that can get to like fifth or sixth in the West. But I don't, do you see them making the improvements necessary to get better than that? They can't draft. They can't develop in the
they
draft.
made a Western Conference final run 2 years ago, and I think that if Luca gets hot and if Luca and Kyrie get hot, they could make another run. I don't really see them winning a championship necessarily, but they could make a decent run at least.
Here's
And
the thing with Dallas and the moves they made. They didn't trade away any of their young prospects to acquire these pieces that they made, that they added. So you look at Jalen or
Josh
Josh Green.
Green.
I mixed them up. Jalen Hardy, Josh Green. And then they also have Derek Lively, who's played really well at the center position. They didn't trade any of them away. So they are all kind of there as like their young core who are getting valuable minutes. And they also have Maxwell Prosper, who they drafted in this year's draft, and he's a young wing. They didn't trade any of them away, right? So if like two of those guys pop as they develop, they'll have more rotation pieces and that can slide in when need be. But I really think PJ Washington was really the only player that moved at the trade deadline I would have wanted on the Blazers to go for.
Yeah.
He went for a high price, like you said. And then Gafford is, I think, criminally underrated. He's been really good in Washington, but Washington is just such a dumpster fire of a franchise, and they haven't won 50 games in like 50 years, right? Anyways, I think that it was a good move for Dallas because they didn't give away any of those young guys. I get what you're saying though, because that pick is top two protected. If Luca like forces his way out for some reason, that pick could be amazing for the Hornets. So I understand why the Hornets did it as well.
Yeah, and I mean they're legitimately sitting at 8th in the West right now. So they're not exactly I don't know if I agree that they're in win now mode. I mean they probably should be, but I just don't think they're gonna win.
Well, I'm just saying they're like looking at it as being in win now mode because they have to keep Luca. That they're doing everything they can to keep him on the team. If they aren't making those moves, and it looks to him like they're, you know, hedging their bets and trying to play for a future team or whatever, he's gonna definitely force his way out. So I think kind of like with Dame, you made a good comparison there. There's some similarities as far as the situation there. They got a star that they really are trying to do everything they can to keep there, keep him happy, and keep the team competitive. But I think they have a lot higher ceiling than the Blazers ever did, and especially towards the end of the run with
Love him or
Green.
hate him, Kyrie is far better than CJ
Yeah.
as a Robin. Love him or hate him. Off the court, obviously not. But talent wise alone, and he's proven that he can be the second option on the championship team, even if that was LeBron. Luca is really, really good. I think that I can't compare it to the Blazers. And they also grabbed two guys with size, something the Blazers never did. They're
Yeah, I was
moving.
gonna say Lively has a lot higher ceiling than any Blazers big man during
Yeah,
Dame's
and then they
run.
have, I mean, Gafford comes in as your starter and PJ Washington is your forward. They filled two holes at that size positions, which the Blazers never really went out and got a forward that could affect the game more than a Moharkos or a
I've
So
seen their record with Derek Lively's like really good too. I can't remember the exact numbers, but their record when he's healthy right now, I think he's recovering from a broken nose, and when he's out, their record I think is well below 500. But when he's in, it's like I wish I could remember the exact numbers. It's like something like 20 plus wins and like 7 losses or something like that. So they're definitely very competitive when they got their whole team and they added that depth. I think it's enough to keep Luca happy at least for another year, especially if they make a deep playoff run and him and Kyrie continue to mesh. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, last year it really flamed out spectacularly. That was an awful end of the season for him last year, but I think they're in a lot better shape to be competitive as long as they stay healthy and make a real run this year.
and Dallas, really quick point. Dallas has won 4 games in a row, and they are only 1 game back from the 5th seed. So they're playing good. They could move up way up into the middle of the West. I mean, they're probably not going to catch Denver, but if they're a 5th seed, I think they're dangerous.
The West is tight. The
Yeah, West
is
is
very
very
tight.
interesting. Let us know in the comments who you guys think are coming out of the. Wait, that's not what we talked about. Let us know what you guys thought about the trade deadline. What was the biggest move? We didn't even mention Dinwiddie to the Lakers. That's the biggest move of all. Let us know down in the comments. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.
Bye.